Okay, here we go. We're going to be flying from Phoenix to LA today. We're starting with a cold, dark Challenger 300. It's a little plane I like so much. So I'm not an expert at doing a cold, dark startup on this plane, so I'm going to cheat, and we're going to do a fast start here. I will at some point do a cold, dark start on this plane, but it isn't going to be today. So that makes a click of one button there, makes everything ready to roll. We're going to go ahead and do our push back, get out to the runway. We're taking off on runway 26 today. We're heading straight to Los Angeles, California. Engines are starting up. So let's go ahead and get our push back. We're going to push straight back.
Okay, push card coming.
Let's get our parking brake off.
Here we go.
I think our engines are all up, ready to roll. Everything looks good. All we got to do is make a couple right turns now and get out to runway 26. We'll taxi on out there. Taxiing out to runway 26. It's kind of fun to look from this view sometimes when you're taxiing. That's a cool looking airplane. I have some views set up. This is my cockpit view from the pilot seat. We're going to turn to the right here. Taxi straight on down. Get in position to take off. Phoenix, Arizona. It's supposed to be 78 and sunny today. Should have a nice clear flight. We're going to be flying up to 25,000 feet. Almost there. We got to get the this is going to be an ILS landing flight, so we're going to get the FMS configured. programmed here once we get on. We're going to stop right here. Let's get things configured. So we'll go to our flight management console. Nav data out of date because I don't subscribe to nav data. We'll just use what's in there. Route menu. We got a route set up in here for Phoenix to Los Angeles. It's flight number LJ 2960. We're going to climb at 195 knots up to 10,000 feet. And then we're going to increase our speed to 235 knots. And then we're going to climb to 25,000 feet. That's our cruising altitude. And then we're going to increase our speed to 265 knots, our cruising speed. And then we're going to decrease our speed to 225 when we start descending. And we're taking off from runway 26. And we're going to be landing runway 24 left. Let's check, make sure our legs look good. Everything looks good. We have some restrictions as we descend, so we'll have to keep track of those. All looks good. So that's programmed. The next thing we want to do is we're going to go to our autopilot and we're going to adjust our altitude target to 25,000. That's what we're ascending to. And we're going to turn on our flight director and our yaw damper. And we're going to click our nav screen and make sure that it's set to FMS1. You can see it down there on the left side. Make sure that FMS1 is selected. That's the flight management system. And we're going to put in flaps first setting, which is 10, I believe. And we're going to move on to the runway now. Break off. We're going to assume we have clearance. I don't have control tower or ATC on. I used to use that a lot. I got tired of it. I know it's important in the real world, obviously. Okay, we're all lined up. We're ready to roll. Let's go ahead and give it full throttle. Here we go. I found on this plane I can rotate at about 110 knots. And 110 rotate. Pull back lightly on the joystick. Okay. Positive rate. Gear up. I've got that programmed to button 6 on my joystick. And we're going to go back to our autopilot. We're going a little fast. We're going to hit autopilot, VNav, and nav, and cut back on our throttle a little bit. Climbing nicely. Speed's going to level off at about 195 knots. Flying out of Phoenix, Arizona Sky Harbor Airport. We're climbing just right. I like to cut our throttle back till we climb at about 3,000 feet a minute. We're looking good. Okay, we're going to climb to 10,000 feet, then we're going to level off for just a little bit as we increase our speed up to 235 knots. It's all being controlled by the computer at this point. Getting close to 10,000. Okay, 10,000. Now we're leveling off, and you can see our speed going up. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to retract our flaps. And now we're going to start climbing again as we get close to 235 knots. It's all looking good. Once we get up to 25,000 feet, we'll speed up to 265 knots and we'll cruise. And if we go to our flight management console and go to PROG, you'll see that our top of descent is 215 nautical miles. So once we get close to there, we'll have to configure the plane to start descending. Okay, we got 2,300 feet to go to get to our cruising altitude, and then we'll speed up to 265 knots. You'll hear a buzz here in a second, right there. 1,000 feet to go. There we are. See how we're speeding up now? .265. Cruising. Let's check our top of descent now. We're 187 miles from top of descent, so when we get within about 20 miles, we'll configure this plane to start descending.
0, fly at 210.
Okay, we're getting close to top of descent. We're about 20 miles from top of descent, so we're going to start getting this plane ready to start descending. So let's see where we're at here. 18 miles away. So all we do is we go to our altitude bug here and we go to the left and change our target altitude to 0. And then we click on our altitude button to turn it off. Now we're in pitch mode. And that's all we have to do right now. Once we start descending, we'll have some more to do.
.172, Sierra, Papa, fly heading 220. Fly heading 220, 172, Sierra, Papa.
11 miles out. We're turning. $10 miles to TOD. We're just cruising, 25,000 feet, 265 knots. Beautiful cirrus cloud kind of day.
172, Sierra, Papa, 29 Palm Z, altimeter 2992. 29 Palm Z, altimeter 2992.
Ooh, only 5 miles to go.
Sierra, Papa. 172, Sierra, Papa, fly heading 190. Fly heading 190, 172, 2 Sierra Papa. 172, 2 Sierra Papa. Fly heading 190. Fly heading 190, 172, 2 Sierra Papa.
2 miles to TOD. Okay, so once we get to the top of descent, we have some restrictions we have to make sure we handle properly. First one is we can't go below 24,000 feet. Okay, we're starting to descend, as you can see. Once I start descending, what I like to give it some spoiler here. Help us keep our speed down. This thing descends, it can get going pretty fast on descent. Okay, we can't go below 24,000 feet on the first leg here, so let's go to our legs. We're already down to 24.4. So we've got 1 mile, and we can go down to, we have to be above 19,000, so let's go to 19,000 on our altitude target here. And we've already locked in our altitude at 24,000. It's already hit that target, so we have to hit the VS button again. And you can see here we'll start descending again. The computer will start calculating the descent to the next level of 19,000 feet. So let's keep track of our... I'd like to just open this up, move it over here. Then we can keep track of this because we have to keep monitoring this. We're slowly slowing down. We're going to get down to 225 knots on this descent before we get close to the runway. Okay, so we have to stay above 19,000 and below 24,000 on this leg. It's 9 nautical miles to go. Everything's looking good. Five nautical miles. Then we can go down to 17,000.
2 Sierra Papa. Fly heading 180.
1 to go, and we need to be above 19,000, so we can go ahead and lower this down to 17,000. Altitude target's nice 17 thou, or FL17. Seven nautical miles, and we'll go down to 15,000. We just have to stay above. That's what the A means after the 17,000. It says A. It means you have to stay above 17,000 until you get to the next leg. It's all calculated by the computer. It's right there where it says VS 1348, right there. The computer knows. Speed's slowly coming down. We're down to 241 knots. Okay, now we can go down to 15,000.
172, 2 Sierra Papa. Big Bear City, altimeter 2992. Big Bear City, altimeter 2992.
Just keep descending.
172, 2 Sierra Papa. 172, 2 Sierra Papa. Fly heading 120.
Looking good.
Fly heading 120, 172, 2 Sierra Papa.
7 nautical miles to go, and then we can go down to 14,000.
172, 2 Sierra Papa. Fly heading 120. Fly heading 120, 172, 2 Sierra Papa.
Okay, we got 2 nautical miles to go to our next leg, which is 15,000. We're only at 16,000, so we're safe to go ahead and lower our target altitude to 14,000 now for the next leg. We're on the 14,000 leg now. Neile. I guess it's a waypoint. The one after this is saying we have to stay above 12,000 and below 14,000. I don't know if we're going to make it below 14,000 by the time we get there, but the computer's doing its job. One nautical mile, so we can go down to 12,000 now.
172, 2, Sierra, Papa, fly heading 330.
Fly heading 330, 172, 2, Sierra, Papa.
Our speed's leveled off at 225 knots.
172, 2, Sierra, Papa, Big Bear City, altimeter 2992. 172, 2, Sierra, Papa, fly heading 310.
If we go to descent,
310, 172,
we
2,
might be able
Sierra,
to
Papa.
change this to 175 slash 10,000. Let's go 11,000. Let's try that. Maybe it'll slow down automatically to
2, Sierra,
175.
Papa, fly heading 09.
5 nautical miles, and we can go down to
Fly heading 09.
clear down to 2,200 feet, but I'll go down to about 3,000. 3,000 is where I like to be when I'm coming in to catch the glide slope at landing.
One 172, 2, Sierra, Papa, Orange County, John Way, altimeter 2992.
Orange County, John Wayne, altimeter 2992, 172, 2, Sierra, Papa.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lower this to 3,000 now, so the computer can keep working. There we go. Now we're on our last leg before we get down to the altitude where we're going to be able to catch the ILS.
172, 2, Sierra, Papa, fly heading 040.
Fly heading 040, 172, 2,
ILS
Sierra,
stands for
Papa.
Instrument Landing System. And what it does is it's a localizer which guides the plane in horizontally and vertically. We're descending nicely, so I don't think we need this open anymore for now. Once we get to 11,000, we should start slowing down some more. If not, we'll have to do it manually. There's a little indicator, it's hard to see. It's right above the 3,000. It says auto throttle engaged is what it stands for. It actually wasn't on this plane when I bought it. I had to add it with Plane Maker. And I also put in a shortcut key, Shift A, to turn it off. So once I turn it off, then I'll have control of the throttle and not the computer. So we'll do that soon because we got to make sure we're slowing down. "27 nautical miles to go, and then we'll line up at the runway, and we'll have caught the glide slope by then, and the localizer." It looks like it's working. It looks like the engines are actually cutting down. It looks like we're slowing down, starting to slow down maybe. Although it does still say 225 on the indicator. That should have gone down to 175. So we'll have to, we'll hit Shift A, and you'll see that auto throttle engage light go out if I hit Shift A right now. Now I have control of the throttle. So we'll throttle down a little bit here. get our speed down a little bit. Once we get under 200 knots, we can engage the first flaps, which is flaps 5, I think. 5 degrees. Let's see if that's true. First one, actually on this one there's 10 degrees and then 20 degrees and 30 degrees. So the first one is 10 degrees. Okay, we're slowing down nicely, down to less than 220 knots. Glide slope looks good. 20 nautical miles to go to the next waypoint. If I click on my M button, it brings up my map. You can see we're already really close to Los Angeles. If we zoom out a little bit here, we're going to be landing on runway 24 left. So if we go back to our map, 24 left would be this runway right here. 24 left, LAX 24 left. The ILS frequency is 111.7, so we hit tune nav 1. It'll automatically program the nav 1 frequency to 111.7. So that's done. So if we go to our flight management console and click on nav rad, we'll see that our nav 1 is 111.7 and our CRS is 251, which is what it's supposed to be. I guess that's kind of the lazy man's way to do it. Okay, we're almost under 200 knots now, so we can go ahead and kick in our first flaps. Flaps 10. And you'll see this red bar right here on the speed indicator. That means we can't be going that speed. We can't be in the red bar or we'll get a warning. I guess the flaps will rip off or something if you're going too fast. Descending nicely. Speed's good. We're about 185 knots. That's where we want to be at this point in the flight. Everything is looking good. We can go ahead and retract our spoilers. We don't need those anymore because we're slowed down nicely. Those are set to automatically engage once we touch down. We're starting to come into the LA basin now, metro area. We're descending nicely. Everything's looking good. Everything's perfecto. Nice day for flying. I don't know what city this is. I guess it's part of East LA. Haven't spent much time in LA actually. Okay, I'm going to start cutting the throttle back just a little bit more here. We want to get down to the 170, 160 knots range. Four nautical miles to go to our next transition point or waypoint. And then we're going to start turning in towards right on the runway path. As soon as we do that, we'll go ahead and lock in the localizer or the ILS system using the 111.7 frequency. 2 nautical miles to go. Get ready here. There we go. Just a slight turn to get onto heading 251, which is actually the runway heading. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit the nav screen button till we get to nav 1 on our indicator, down there on the left. Nav 1, and then we'll hit the approach hold button. And look at that. We've already, LC1s means we've caught the localizer, which means we're lined up horizontally, and GS means we've already caught the glide slope. So we're starting to let the ILS system bring us right in here. So we'll start cutting our speed some more. We'll go flaps 20. And we can actually see the runway out there. Down to 160 knots, which is good. We'll just give it a little bit of throttle. We don't want to get going too slow. We don't want to stall this thing out at this point. We're looking good. $150 some odd knots there. Slowly descending. Look at this sitting here. This is actually what they call AGL, or actual ground level. And the one over on this side is above sea level. So this runway happens to be about the same on both. It's just a little above sea level. A little bit of turbulence out there. Let's see if we're seeing any flex in our wing there. Looks pretty stable. We're looking good. Coming up on the Forum. I think that's where Kobe played a lot. I think it's where the Lakers play. We're looking good once we get to we're about at 10,000 feet now, so this is where I will kick in our landing gear. Landing gear down. And once I do that, it allows me to do our last flaps, 30 degrees. And we should start slowing down here because landing gear always causes some drag. So we'll give it a little bit of throttle. We don't want to go too slow at this point. And we're at about 600 feet. Once we get to about 200, I'll turn off autopilot. And let's slow down a little bit now. We want to be at about 130 knots when we land, when we touch down. Just over 300. Cut the throttle back a little more. Okay, let's go autopilot off. Now we got the airplane. See if we can make a nice landing here.
Glide slow, 100. Glide slow.
Our nose up a little bit.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Not too bad. Nose wheel down. Reverse thrusters on. Spoilers are up. Not too bad of a landing. Okay, we're down to, tap lightly on the brakes. We're down to 70 knots. Reverse thrusters off. Flaps up 1. We're going to turn off right here and get off the runway. Flaps up 2. Flaps up 3. Looking good. Looking good in LA. Beautiful day in LA. Taxi into a spot here where we can park. Get these people off this plane. I think we can turn right here. Go over here and find a place to park. Get the stairs down. We didn't park on a proper parking place, but this will do. Kick in our parking brake. We'll get the stairs down. Everybody can get off the plane. I know everybody's tired. Let's take another look at this landing real quick here. See how our landing was from an external viewpoint. We get our nose up a little bit. A little bit wobbly there, but yeah, not perfect, but safe landing. Okay, that does it for this one. I'll be flying out of LA soon, heading somewhere. Have a good one.